Hello, everybody, and welcome to the last analysis. This will be the end. This is chapter 11 of A Puzzle for Logan. So I am going to share the screen, I am going to play the audio, and I am going to ask you some questions. You know that you can find those questions in the platform. Remember that these questions are not much about what you think, about your feelings, because you have your own opinions and you are great. But this is just like a small summary. If you read all the answers and all the questions, you will have the summary of the book, okay? Because there are a lot of characters, there are many things happening at the same time. So, wait a second, there I got a notification. So I am going to share everything with you and we are going to finish. Let's see. This chapter is called The Last Pieces of the Puzzle. Remember that Logan had said in the previous chapter that it was that this case was like a puzzle, because a jigsaw, because she had lots of pieces and she needed to put them together to know who was the murderer, who was the killer. So let's start. Wait a second. Here.
Chapter 11.
Okay.
The last pieces of the puzzle. Grant brought in some fingerprint ink and paper and took Baxter's fingerprints. He left the room for a short time to take them to the scientists. When he returned, Logan started talking to Baxter again. "Okay," she said. "Let's go right back to the start, to the murder of Craig Sinclair." Baxter's eyes looked empty. He shook his head slowly from side to side, as if he could not believe what was happening. "Yes," Logan went on, "I've been looking at that murder too. And actually, I've had some good luck. I found a man who saw you leaving Sinclair's body in Beaver Hall Road. He described you and your car, and he even told me your car number. You shouldn't have such an easy number to remember." She didn't tell Baxter that Gus MacLeod couldn't actually remember the number, and that anyway nobody would ever believe him.
Okay, so my question will be, what did Logan say to Baxter about Sinclair's murder? Okay, she told him everything, like she acted as she knew everything. And my next question will be, why did she do that? Okay, here you got the answer.
It was enough that Baxter believed that she had found him. Logan was now quiet. If Baxter believed that she knew everything, he might tell her the things she didn't know. Grant and Logan watched him, thinking. Baxter opened his mouth and started to speak a couple of times, but then stopped. It was as if he could not quite decide what to say. Would he still say he knew nothing, although the police already knew so much? Or would he tell the truth? Finally, he spoke.
Look at this.
"Sinclair tried to steal some money from me. Actually, he did steal it. And then he started telling everyone about it. I've got Baggs's money. Baggs is no good anymore. I'm the boss now. So I had to do something. I got my money back, and I made sure no one else would try to steal from me, and everyone knew I was still the main man."
Okay, so this is my favorite paragraph in the whole book, because he confesses everything and he's the main man, he's the killer, he's everything, okay? So my questions will be, what had Sinclair done to Baxter? Because if Baxter had killed Sinclair, it was because of something. And the next question will be, how had Baxter incriminated Campbell? Because Campbell didn't murder Sinclair, okay? Baxter did, but why did Baxter accused, entre comillas accused, porque hizo parecer todo que lo había hecho Campbell? ¿Por qué lo hizo? Okay, ¿cómo lo hizo? Let's listen. Sorry.
"And you made us think that Campbell killed Sinclair," said Grant.
Yes.
"Why not?" Baxter's shoulders went up and down.
Why not?
"I knew Campbell a little, and I didn't like him much. He and Sinclair worked together sometimes. I thought they might have worked together getting my money.
Makes sense.
I thought it was a clever idea to make both of them disappear at the same time, and I knew that if Campbell went to prison for Sinclair's murder, I wouldn't." "So you put the gun in his flat?" said Logan. "Yes. I found a box under the sink in the kitchen. I just put the gun in the box. It was his box. It had his fingerprints on it."
So, to make it look like Campbell had killed Craig Sinclair, Baxter needed to do something. So Baxter went to Campbell's apartment flat and he put the gun inside the box inside Campbell's house. So the box had his fingerprints. Remember that the gun didn't have any fingerprints? Well, that's why, sorry.
"How did you get into his flat?" asked Logan. "It was easy," said Baxter. "I've had a lot of practice getting into houses without breaking any glass." Logan thought for a moment and then continued. "And what about Morag?" "She did things for me from time to time. She was happy to tell the police that she'd seen Campbell with Sinclair that night. I paid her well for it. I continued to give her bits of work so I could make sure she stayed quiet. And everything was fine until Campbell escaped," said Logan. "Morag rang and told me about it. She'd seen it on the news. She was worried that Campbell would come and see her. She said she wanted to meet me, to talk about it." Logan said nothing. Baxter had stopped talking and was looking at the top of the table. Finally, he looked up. "The stupid woman wanted more money. Campbell escaped, and the stupid woman thought it was a great chance to ask for some more money to keep her quiet. Well, she was right. She's quiet now."
"She's dead now, that's what."
Baxter sat back in his chair, his hands on his knees. His face was now white, his eyes wide, as he realized his world had just crashed in the most terrible way. He looked at Logan and said no more.
Okay, so I will ask you two things about Morag. One of them is, how did Morag help Baxter? Because she worked for him, but remember that she made some little works, some little jobs for him, etc. But why did she do so? Because, of course, he paid her. And then she wanted more money. Well, and what did Morag want and how did it end? Okay, how did it end? She ended up dead, or she ended up quiet. Okay, let's listen to the final. I am sorry if I am little confused. It's because my screen is like breaking. Como que se me congela. Yo pongo play y arranca después, entonces estoy esperando. No sé si se estará escuchando o no. Ah, sorry. See?
At 5 o'clock, Logan was standing in her office, looking out of the window, and deciding that it was time to go home. There was a light knock, and the door opened. Tam MacDonald came in, shutting the door behind him.
His friend, remember the journey?
"I hear it's all over," he said, walking across the room to stand beside her. "Yes," she said. "Robert Baxter killed Morag Mackenzie, and 7 years ago he killed Craig Sinclair." "I know. I met Sergeant Grant as I came in," Tam said. He turned to look at her. "The usual excellent work by Jenny Logan." He smiled, but he could see that she was still serious. "Thanks," she said. "But I'm sure that Ronnie Campbell wishes the Edinburgh police had done some excellent work 7 years ago." "What will happen to him?" asked Tam. Well, first, we have to look at the Sinclair murder again. That will be easy because Baxter's told us everything. Then Campbell will go free. I don't think we're going to worry too much about his escape from prison or his stealing a car. He's had 7 years in prison for something he didn't do. Will he get some money for the time he was in prison? Asked Tam. Quite a lot, I should think, said Logan. I'd rather be free for 7 years than have a lot of money, Tam said. I think Ronnie Campbell would agree with you, said Logan. She turned and looked into his eyes.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I need to ask a question before the final that it's interesting. I wasn't expecting that. I really like it though. What would happen to Campbell? Of course, he would get some money, he would be free. You tell me, what do you think? And the last question is, what about Jenny and Tom? And you can answer whatever you want. You can tell me your opinion. You can tell me the same that you are reading here, because the end is really interesting. I like it. I would say that this book is on the top 3 for the teens books that we are reading. So let's finish it.
Anyway, thanks for your help. They were good friends, so she moved forward and kissed him softly on the lips. His arms came up round her body and he held her to him. After a minute, she moved back a little. What about that dinner invitation? He said, smiling. I hadn't forgotten, she said, her hands still on his arms. I'm tired. Let's go back to my place first and decide where to eat later.
I love it. I really, really love it. Bueno, les dejo la musiquita de fondo. So, this is the end of the book. I think that it is really interesting. Now it is your turn to answer the questions, of course, and to analyze the plot, to remember the characters, to remember the sequence of the actions. And if you can, maybe you could just tell me about the book in like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. You can practice that. I will tell you a summary in Spanish, so you don't copy me. Si les preguntase yo una especie de resumen, me dirían que hubo un asesinato en el que trabaja Jenny Logan y el inspector Grant, ¿sí? En ese asesinato había sido cometido hace muchos años atrás y una persona ha habido presa, ahora muere otra persona y culpan a este mismo señor, que, bueno, si quieren nombrarlos a Campbell, lo vuelven a culpar. Y después de ir buscando a muchas personas, se terminan enterando de que Robert Baxter había sido el asesino en primer lugar del primer hombre que había muerto, de la chica que murió y que había aprovechado para inculpar a otra persona. Se puede decir resumido todo. Obviamente que me estoy perdiendo de un montón de detalles. No hablé de un montón de personas, ¿sí? No hablé de la hermana de Sinclair, no hablé casi de Sinclair, ni lo mencioné. No hablé tampoco de Jimmy Brown. Obvio que se puede resumir un montón. But it is your turn now, with all the questions, with all the analysis, with everything that we have done. It is your turn to start thinking about it, about your opinion, if you liked the book, if you didn't like the book, what would you have done in this situation, etc., etc. So next classes we are going to start talking about this, and you will answer different questions, not these questions, because these last questions are only for maybe a sequence of the events. So that's it. I hope that you like the book, and if not, well, we can always read something else, but this is the book that is recommended and that you have to read for the Cambridge exams. That's it. Bye-bye.